Ladies and gentlemen, the Flying Wallendas. Some of you are going, where are the Flying Wallendas? They're right above you.
Well, we want to thank you so much for that wonderful ovation. You know, applause like that is what has motivated our family to remain in the circus now for nearly 200 years. We're into the 8th generation, and during that time, we've done everything you can imagine in the circus. We've been acrobats. We've been jugglers. We've been clowns. We've performed on galloping horses, trained wild animals, and even flown on the flying trapeze. But for nearly 90 years now, we've been known for one thing in particular: walking a slender strand, a tightrope, usually a height of about 25 to 30 feet in the air. On that, we stand on our heads, we ride bicycles, and we do pyramids with as many as 7 people at one time in a 3-level pyramid. Not only that, but we've set records in the Guinness Book of World Records, not for our 7-person pyramid, but for implementing that, adding 1 more person on top, making it an incredible 8-person pyramid. We went on from there, and we added 2 more people, 1 on either end, making it an impossible 10-person pyramid. The young lady in front of me, she happens to have been walking the wire, performing in the circus from a very young age, but on the high wire from the age of 8 years old. That is my daughter, Alida.
Yeah.
Now, those of you beneath me, this is the place where you either want to hold your breath, turn away, close your eyes, or say a big prayer.
Wow. I'll say it backwards. Wow. That's amazing.
The young lady behind me, she actually started performing on the tightrope with the rest of her family when she was only 3.5 years old. That is because her mom was expecting her younger brother and was not able to perform. That is Aurelia.
Yeah.
Now, you may be saying, well, how does all this get started? Well, when I started my kids on the tightrope, and all 4 of them performed on the wire at one time or another, I don't just take a balancing pole, shove it in their hands, and say, go for it. Not at a height of 30 or 35 feet in the air. But the way that we do it is that I climb to the platform, allow them to follow me up. They've all done it at a very young age. As I said, Aurelia was only 3.5 when she first made her first debut on the tightrope. Alida was only 7 years old. But they get behind me. We actually let them mount on my shoulders. And then we slowly make our way out to the center of the wire, where at that point we do that little salute that you saw us do just a few moments ago. And of course, all the audience applauds. Then we went on to the other platform and then out to the ground. And once on the ground, of course, there's a lot more applause. But when I did this with Alida, there was a gentleman standing out in the back. And he had a question for her. He said, young lady, weren't you afraid? Alida said, no, sir, I wasn't afraid, not in the least. And he said, why weren't you afraid? She said, that's because that's my daddy that's got me up there. Now, there's some relationship that grows between a father and its little girl, that when you allow it to take its full effect, it allows you to do incredible and marvelous things. I find that there's analogies in everything I do in life, even walking on the tightrope. And there's a tremendous and a large analogy right there, because you see, we have a Father in heaven. And our Father loves us dearly. He doesn't allow anything to go wrong with us. He's there with us constantly, even when times are bad. And he wants to know us on a very personal level, not just on a Sunday to Sunday type of a situation, but he wants us to know him in a personal relationship day to day, just as the relationship that I have with my daughters. He cares for each of us. And if we will trust in him, he will take us through this life from one end to the other. Now, it doesn't mean that sometimes there aren't a little bit of issues along the way. I can tell you this little trick that we just did, we've never done it on a tightrope this long. It's usually under much more controlled situation. So you may have noticed that it was a little bit shaky. Well, see, even as my daughter's father, sometimes I'm a little shaky up there. But I love my daughters without question. And I wouldn't allow anything to happen to them. In fact, I'd rather let something happen to me than something happen to them. Well, our Heavenly Father is so much better than this Father right here. He's got you in the palm of his hand. He cares for you at every moment. Always trust. Always give yourself to him. Learn to speak to him and allow him to enter into your life.